All right. We are live. Welcome to Gogotalx, brought to you by GOGOTIX. I'm your host, as always, Malachi Johns, and today we are joined by Mr. Miami himself, my man, Wylie K. How are you, sir?
Doing good. How you?
I'm good, man. Before we get started, I want to clear one thing up. I know you asked me to change it on the flyer, and I didn't have a chance to because I was actually going to Miami. But I want to make sure everybody understands. Wylie K is not just the promoter of the Miami Takeover. Wylie K is the creator of the Miami Takeover. So don't let anybody get that twisted. Nobody was doing anything in Miami before this guy. So he is the originator and the creator, and we gotta make sure we give him his credit for that. But you are one hell of a promoter, sir. I appreciate you, and thank you again for the advice for the good beach to go to because I just came back from Miami yesterday for my first time there. Amazingly, I've been to Greece, I've been to Italy, I've been to almost every state in the union. I've definitely been to Florida.
Wow.
Until this past weekend, I have never been to Miami. So funny enough, I know that's where everybody goes from, but I just never went there. So I'm just not a party dude like that, you know. But so yeah, so I needed to know which beach to go to so I could fake for the gram a little bit and take some pictures, like and you let me know. So I appreciate that, man. How you doing over there?
I'm doing good, man. How you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So let's get started as we usually do. And Osaki Mark said he's waiting. Well, keep waiting, Sako. Nah,
That's
that's
my
my,
homie. That's my
yeah,
homie.
yeah. Now we were hanging out there. He was down there too. He came down there
Oh, okay. Okay.
because I was gonna be down there, and then he played the show and everything. And yeah, man, it was dope. It was a good time. I had a really good time. So I appreciate those guys bringing me down there. We'll talk about that later. But why don't you tell everybody how you got into promoting shows and promoting GoGo and yeah, just give us your whole life story.
First of all, I want to thank you for having me. I feel like I did something. I mean, I'm on your show, man. And,
Oh man, get out of
I
here.
be I'll be looking at how you put stuff together. I'll be analyzing everything. So I say, you're like a subject matter expert on promotions. If people don't know, what I mean, you do it right, and
Oh, thank you, man.
it's crazy. But for me, man, a lot of people don't know. I started promotions at the age of 16. Me and my brother throwing pool parties in the back of our parents' house in Southeast Washington back in the day. Um, we started throwing pool parties, and from there went to FAMU. Um,
Well,
did
wait,
my
real quick on the pool parties. Were there? Did you have bands play there, or was it just a DJ?
no,
Or
this DJ actually Dupont was my first DJ, and he had one speaker and one turntable. and and back in the day you really didn't need to mix. All you need to play is some go-go. So
yeah,
and the backyard pool parties were off the chain. Like I used to have the pool heated to where the whole pool felt like a jacuzzi. So you got
oh, wow.
everybody in the pool with Timberland boots and jean shorts and
Hey,
dry
look,
socks.
my
Exactly.
wife just
Exactly.
found me some
Exactly.
Timberland boots out here and bought them for me while I was in
Yeah.
Miami. I'm
Yeah.
precise, like 90 degrees out today, and I still got some Timbs on like an asshole. But I don't care. I like them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So we started throwing the backyard pool parties, and like I said, I went down to FAMU and
mhm.
was throwing parties down there. Actually, your good friend Tabby went to FAM with me.
Yeah, I was
Me and
about to say you and Tabby went to school, right?
Yeah,
Together,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Me and Tabby was in FAMU together. And I was throwing parties at FAMU. Come home in the summertime, throw pool parties. Me and my brother. And actually, after that, I came back home, and I was throwing parties in Miami for a while. Before I came back home, and really, I became kind of like the concierge when people came to Miami.
Well,
Um,
so but I want to get a little more into detail though. So you're doing parties in Miami at
mhm.
FAMU, right? So like tell us about the first party you because I mean that sounds like oh yeah, I was doing parties at my house and then I just went down to college and started throwing parties down there. Like going to a whole new city and just like even if you've thrown pool parties at your house is a little different than like how did you reach out to the club? How did you know which club was the right one to go to? Or was it through the school? Or what was How did that work?
Well, a lot of times I'm always good at communication, right?
Mhm.
So, and I'm also big on doing stuff that nobody else did. I'm not a follower, so I'm always gonna try to think outside the box. Like
That's
I'm
why
gonna
we
give you a
get
prime,
along.
yeah, exactly. I'm gonna give you a prime example. Um, and me doing backyard pool, right? I would have a bar and I would have food, but I would do ribs. So I would do rib tips and things like that. So you get the whole experience. So like first of all, when I passed out a flyer down Haynes Point and I told the people that I got a pool in the southeast, everybody's like, it got to be an apartment, and I'm like, no, we got a house in the southeast, we got a pool. So when people get there, they like, I didn't know they had this type of stuff in the southeast. So
Right.
we carried on. Where I always had to be different. Always had to reinvent myself. Take for example, in family and in school, like take for example, from DC, we have our own swagger. You know what I mean? So take for example, when we went to fam, I couldn't get with the bass music and all that because I never heard it. Right? So I never been around. I never been around Jam Pony, all that stuff, loop and all that. It was new to me. So for us to have fun, we still had to have our own parties to have our music. So
Right.
I was always kind of like an influencer. So with that being said, if I put it together, I always look at if I put it together and I do it right, people gonna come. So with that, we had a name for ourselves at school. Then when I went to I went to Miami, same concept. And actually, I linked with Lorenzo IC when he moved down there, and me and him clicked, and we started taking the party to the next level. Take for example, we had teasers on the beach in Miami by
Well, wait a minute.
Friday.
You going a little bit too fast. So hold on. So okay. So you went to FAMU and then you went to Miami. Did you go to school in Miami or you just moved to Miami?
No, I was working for the power company, man. So
Okay.
I'm an engineer, so I'm a promoter slash engineer. So
Right.
I was working for the power company. That's how I moved to Miami. So
Okay.
I took a job in Miami, but I always have a passion for promoting. So with that, I hooked up with Lorenzo, Ice T Thomas, and we started doing
That happened
event.
though. How did you just hook up with Lorraine? Because he was already like a sort of a big deal back home. Like I remember, hearing him on the radio and stuff back in the day. So how did you just rant? How did you just hook up with him?
All right,
Because this, I
let
just
me
want.
let all right,
This is
let
the
me
reason
tell you
why I'm
story.
saying this because to us, like I worked at PGC. I know DJ Flex. I know, but what I'm saying. I know all these people. But like your average person doesn't just randomly run into Lorenzo Icy Thomas on the street and just start throwing parties with him. So I want people to know like how do you do these things? You know what I'm saying? Like
So let
coming
me
out of
explain that.
all right,
You and look and you're good. You're good here too. That's a good question. So let's explain. It's a funny story. So I think it was my 29th birthday weekend.
mhm.
I had a mutual friend who just so happened to be Lorenzo I.C. Thomas' roommate, right?
Okay,
The mutual friend was like, you could host your after party at my house, at my condo. And I was like, cool. Well, a lot of my friends play NFL ball.
okay.
So, and this is also, I used to do events at Peter's spot. Peter, that owns Bar One and all that, that's on the Housewives, that's back down in Miami. So I used to throw parties at his spot,
With
right?
the gray, we do with the gray beard.
Right.
So listen, you are should be very surprised that I even know. I don't watch none of that shit. My wife watches that shit. I hate it. I don't want to watch any of it. I for some reason know that because he's the guy that owned the venue and that's what the business that I.
Right.
But other than
That.
that, you tell me not near one of them, and I wouldn't know who any of them are. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
So it was my 29th birthday weekend. We were throwing a party at P spot, and I needed a spot to throw an after party. Um, I used to throw events on the beach, where prior to that, every Memorial Day weekend, I would do a champagne and seafood type of event, and I would rent out a penthouse of a condo and then just do it to that form and get the people from home to come down. So,
Okay. Wait 1 second. Because you're like, okay, I'm from Southeast. I threw pool parties and you know, and then I went to FAMU, and then I went to Miami, and then now I'm friends with football players, and I'm throwing champagne and seafood parties. How do you, like, your average person doesn't know, how do you go for, like, where do you even get the money to do that? How do you, you know what I'm saying? Most people don't even got the money to pay for the champagne and the seafood, much less the place to put it. You know what I'm saying? I know I didn't when I was 29. You know what I'm saying? So, like, where do you, are you partnering up with people, or is this just your own personal money, or how does that work? Like, for people that
Nah,
might be a promoter or know how it works, because a lot of promoters don't just, it's not just all their money. Sometimes you gotta be able to partner with people and get money from other places, or sometimes you don't. You know,
nah, you
dig it
you didn't.
business. But,
Did you hear that part I said that when I moved to Florida, I was an engineer. So I'm an
yeah,
engineer.
right.
I was making my own paper. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
And
it's your money.
so
Okay,
but I always drunk champagne. So anybody
okay,
that knows me, I don't drink other alcohol. I drink champagne and wine. So
okay.
anything that I do, it's got to be infused with some champagne. So
Gotcha.
I when I found out was this how I started in Miami. If you remember back in the day when they had Urban Fashion Week, um,
Mhm.
that's when the Memorial Days was just starting, and there was a lot of people coming down. A lot of times clubs were overpriced, people couldn't get in, so a lot of my people would come to town and couldn't get in, right?
Mhm.
Or they not paying the exorbitant amount of money they're asking for. So I would always host I go get a nice penthouse down on the beach, and I have it the whole weekend, the whole floor, and we would just throw crazy parties, right?
Mhm.
I'm actually in one of the reasons why they changed some of the condo laws down there in Miami that you now have to get the spot for a month. You just can't rent
Okay,
weekend.
man.
Now they changed the game with the MBB, whatever it's called now. They changed the game so you can do it now, but back in 5 years ago you couldn't do it. But
Right.
we would do the champagne, seafood. So I like seafood coming up this way, crabs and all that type of stuff. And then I always love champagne. So I mixed them two together. I found out that that's a good concept to get people to come mess with you. You say crabs and champagne,
Yep.
and then
Oh,
I
my wife
infused
will
it.
be there in a
Yeah,
second. Yeah.
yeah. Then I infused it with fondue. So
Oh shit.
so what happens is anybody that also knows me knows that if you see me in Miami, I don't go to Wet Willie's. I'm always at News Cafe. And the reason why I'm at News Cafe is because I don't drink those Carla Cabs and fruity drinks. And I can drink my champagne at News Cafe. So News
Okay, so
Cafe,
for someone that, because even though I just went this, I didn't go to either one of those places. So for anyone who's never been to Miami or who's not like a Miami aficionado, what's the difference between Wet Willie's and News Cafe? Like it sounds to me, I could be wrong, but it sounds to me like Wet Willie's is a little more lowbrow, like get drunk, whatever. Like, and News Cafe is a little bit more higher end. Am I reading that right?
yeah. Wet Willie's is where they sell the frozen drinks, frozen daiquiri type drinks, and you're supposed to get drunk on a really $7, $8 drink. You know what I mean? So News Cafe is more of a restaurant which serves champagne,
Gotcha.
wine. So yeah, it's like a South restaurant. But Wet Willie's, they don't want you to stay in there long. If you get what I'm
Right.
saying, they want you to come in, get your drink, and leave. Right,
Yep, yep.
right.
So
They
you're a
want.
snob, basically, is what the moral of the story is. You drink champagne and eat crabs. You don't mess with that.
No, but like I said, I just I'm consistent at what I do. Like you
I hear
never
you.
see me switching up. Like
Right, right.
me and your relationship has been consistent
Indeed,
since
it
I
has.
first met you.
Absolutely.
Since I saw you in Mumble Sauce back at her India back in the day. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm glad you. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
So
Keep
so
going with
so
Miami.
so Miami and go back to where I'm at Lorenzo. So I met Lorenzo. Like I said, my birthday, my 29th birthday weekend, and I'm throwing a party weekend. I had a lot of people come down, and I looked at my 20th, ninth birthday weekend as pre 30th. So
Right.
I was going to do my 30th back in DC.
Okay.
So I did my 29th in Miami, right? So I had all my family, friends come down. I need a spot to throw my after spot. So my partner, which is Janard, who was Lorenzo's roommate, he said, "Man,
Mhm.
you can come over my spot. It's nice. It's on the water. Everybody through." Lorenzo didn't leave from a can of paint, right? I go knock on his door with bags of champagne, cake, and he comes to the door in his socks and his drawers and like, what's going on? What's up? I said, well, Janan told me I can come over and we about to have a party. He said, what? What you mean? I, so he immediately calls Janan, man, this at my door, and he said he about to throw a party. So he ended up saying, okay, come in, make yourself at home. I made myself home, and from there it was curtains. Like I had everybody at this party, and let me just tell you how my 29th birthday party. I had Sam Madison play for the Dolphins. I had a Wylie play. I had Drew Rosenhall, right? You know the big agent, right? I had Drew in the house.
I don't watch sports either, so
Okay,
I'm
okay.
letting these
Well,
people off, but I'm sure people that are watching
well,
do.
well. You know, Drew Rosenhoff is one of the biggest NFL agents, so he has everybody. So when you got a party going on, it's kind of exclusive, and you got these type of people in there. Everybody's having a good time, but Lorenzo is now saying, "Who is dude? Like, who is the dude Wylie?" You know what I mean? So
Right, right,
he kind of saw the vibe. We had a great time. From that point on, man, Lorenzo had been doing business. It got so serious that my 30th, Lorenzo came back home with me to throw my 30th, and we did a pre-Jamaica jump-off party. You know, he doing the Jamaica jump-offs for a long time.
okay, okay.
So we pre, and that's how we started. And then Lorenzo, we still doing business to this day, man. One of my best friends, you know what I mean? Really good guy. Um, Me and him, like I said, we've been through the ups and downs. We've been through the heyday of Miami. I'm talking about club wars. We battling the promoters. Like, take for example, and that's why I'm kind of respected now. And a lot of people don't know that is like, say for example, the guys that live. You know what I mean? They like mental brothers to me. So but we battled back in the day where they were throwing something on the same day I'm throwing something. I'm giving out flies and they giving out flies. You know what I mean? So, but they
Right,
saw my grind, and it just so happened that I'm from Miami. What helped me was, remember, I went to FAMU, so I knew a lot of people from Miami. I knew people that actually lived in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach. So it wasn't like I'm coming from an outsider. These are people that I had friendships with for 4 or 5 years. They've been to my house parties. They've seen my work. You know what I mean? And now we not school no more. We making our own paper, and we in paradise. You know what I mean? When I first went
right.
down to Miami for my interview, I called my mom from South Beach and said I ain't never coming home. Like I
That's
said,
what's
I
up.
said, I said, they about to give me some money to work and look at the beach and power lines. I said, oh, now I'm gonna do that all day.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. So
So how
that
long were you in Miami?
I was there for 10 years.
Okay, from what year to
I
what
was in
years?
from 97 when I graduated to
Okay,
2007.
2007. Okay, all right. So it wasn't too long after that we met each other then. So
And see,
okay,
I met you around the time I was coming back home,
yeah.
and I transitioned back home when I was getting married. So I got married, I came back home, right? And
Hmm.
I met you through Mumble House, and I was doing events at Heritage India, and
Yep.
that was me still trying to bring my Miami vibe, right? Bar service, Connecticut Avenue, where a lot of bands weren't playing, right? A lot of bands weren't
Yep.
playing on Connecticut Avenue. So
Yep.
I'm still trying to recreate because at the end of the day, my passion has always been go-go. Like I would sell go-go tapes in the hallway of the bar, and that's how I would get my little bit of money without having to do nothing wrong. You know what I mean? Then I would go play cards or try to double that, and you know what I mean. But I would never. I had such a passion for go-go. One of the things I learned when I was in Miami was for you to get them big clubs and make them bar numbers, you gotta have people.
Hmm.
Cause Miami ain't cheap, right?
Well,
And
what? Real quick. Let me interrupt for 1 second. Make those bar numbers. So can you? So I want to get a little more into the world. The world of promotion and stuff later. But real quick, let's for people that don't know what that means. What is a bar? I assume you're talking about a bar guarantee. What is a bar guarantee, and how does that work?
bar guarantee is the amount of money that the club needs to make for you basically to either get your deposit back or get the spot for free. It might be a rent, but the bar needs to make a certain amount of money for the club to operate. So
Right.
normally the club will determine what that is, and your negotiating skills determine on what number you agree to. Once you show club owner that you can bring the money, and I'm talking thousands. You know what I mean? Like, depending on how big the spot is. I mean, like, take for example, Miami. You talking Miami clubs? You talking $15 to $25,000 bar. Man. Big weekends, you talking 40, 50, 60, depending on what club it is. So you're talking a lot of money that needs to be made because it has now. You talk small venues, you get a $2 or $3,000 bar minimum, but the spot's not that big. It doesn't have that many bartenders, security, hostesses, things to run. You know what I mean? So it
So,
depends.
so just to break it down a little bit further for people that may not be in the business or understand. So I'm Malachi. I'm going into whatever, say whatever club in Miami. I'm saying, hey, I want to throw a party here. I'm a promoter. They say to me, okay, well, the bar guarantee is $20,000, say for example. So that means that I have to bring enough people that are going to drink up $20,000 worth of alcohol in order for me to either say I had to put a deposit down on the venue to get it, or if I didn't do a deposit, I don't see anything. I don't get any money at all until they make $20,000 at the bar. And I have
Yep.
two questions about that. The first is if if I do hit how do I know that I hit the $20,000? Like, how do you know that the venue, like, what do? They print out a receipt from the thing and say this is how much it was, and they show it to you. How do you know that they're telling you the truth?
Well, me and my team, I always ask for a periodic bar tab. You got to see how the system is working. This with anything, it's checks and balances. So, if they ask you for make $20,000 at the bar in 4 hours, and I need a tab every hour to see how that bar is running. So I know that if I'm making 5,000 an hour, then I'm on track. You know what I mean? So,
Right,
but you also can gauge what's happening, how many bottles sales you're making. You can tell people who drink, who's not.
right.
Those are things that you gotta do. You gotta know your club owner. You know what I mean? And you gotta know how to protect yourself.
So that brings me to another question because you obviously are on top of your shit. You're checking the bar tab every other hour. You're looking. You're seeing what's going on. You're seeing who's drinking or whatever. So are you drinking when you're doing a party? How do you stay on top of that if you're
Well,
drinking?
no, no, normally I am drinking. To be actually honest with you, but I have a good team of people around me that normally, like take for example, anybody that know me from back in the day. My mother know me at the door. And
Okay.
it ain't no better person at the door than your mother. She charging my brother to get in. So but I got a good team of
Well,
people
trust
that
me,
I
I,
work with.
I, I played for Northeast Groovers and Miss Pratt was at the door, so I totally understand. Yep, that's exactly what it
so,
is. She doesn't give a shit who you are. You're paying to get in. Yep.
So, but my goal is also as a promoter. I've always been a type where I want to make sure my people are having a good time, and
Hmm.
I don't want to be in there like in the back in the corner just trying to wait for all the money to come through. I want to make sure everybody having a good time. I'm going to enjoy myself because that for me, partying and promoting is a hobby for me. Like I
Yep.
do well at what I do. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like I've always been able to enjoy myself. And like I said, I put people in place. So and now when say for example, people have and all that. But when I go to Miami, I always got my head on a swivel. I mean, I always got security. You know what I mean? So because I
Hmm.
know that I just know the streets. I know how
Yep.
things operate. So you gotta always think safety, and always thinking safety. So.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So what makes what if you could say three things that make, like, for anybody that's watching, it might be a promoter or an aspiring promoter or something like that, irrespective of whether it's in Miami or it's in DC or whether it's a go-go band or whether it's a DJ party or whatever. You leave all that out. Just if no matter what the event is, if there are three things you can say that somebody should focus on to make a good party, what would they be?
First of all, you have to build it to make them want to come. So it has to be something that's interesting to make the people come.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, you have to be patient in the details. It's the little things that'll make somebody not want to come back and mess with you. And I would say third, make sure can deliver what you promote. And I think, I think if you do those things, you could throw a party in a backyard. You could throw a party at things to me. You can throw it wherever you want. And, like I said, and that's one thing I'm big on. I'm big on integrity. At the end of the day, now don't get me wrong. I've had my ups and downs and my bumps in the road. But one thing I'm always gonna do, I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna talk through my issue. I'm not gonna run. Like if I have an issue, I'm gonna give you a prime example. I mean, um, this last year I had backyard for the first time against something that hadn't been before, right? Um, we had an issue with the venue. The security company I had actually made it look as if there was a cut line, which I never do, right? I need to do it. So with that being said, I left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. But I had to, take for example, I had to take ownership and, keep my integrity intact. Because
Right.
we only as good as our last party. For real.
100,000,000%. So real quick, I want to say, so I don't let me forget the cut line because I want to talk about that for a second too. But real quick, two things you said that are really important, I think. So I think that some people sort of get, like aspiring promoters sort of get the first part, which is make it seem like it's something interesting. They get a band or a DJ or they have some kind of concept that seems cool, that makes people want to come. Some are better than others, of course. But I think a lot of people overlook that second point, which is pay attention to detail because it can be the smallest thing that makes somebody not want to come back. If the elevator stinks, if the door doesn't open, what I'm saying? It can be the smallest little thing. And especially now with social media, when people will blast that shit all over the place, I think that I'm hoping that this permeates into GoGo because I mean, it's not even just in parties. You see it in companies all over the place.
Yep.
Companies are bending over backwards to treat their customers better because they know now they're going to get yelped or they're going to get Instagrammed or Facebook or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They should have been doing this stuff in the first place. You shouldn't have to wait to be outed. What's up, Chosen? What's up, Barry? But it's the effect is good, and I think you're absolutely right with that. That you have to make sure that everything is right, or else, And I mean, I remember, when I was running events at the casino, for 15, 20,000 people, and I was sort of mentored by a lady who was a consultant for the casino. She used to be the right hand person for Steve Wynn, who owns multiple casinos and one of the richest guys in the world. And she would be like, I don't want to see any extension cords anywhere. They need to be hidden. We're talking about an event with 20,000 people with a probably $5 million budget, and she's worried about the extension cord.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want to see any balloons anywhere. She hated balloons. You know what I'm saying? I learned a lot from working with her. You know what I'm saying? And that's and it is echoed in what you said. And I hope that any GoGo promoters that might be watching are listening. Like the details matter. People will not come back if you don't have those details. But the third part is super, super, super important, which is the integrity. And that's one of the things that I have to say that I have never had a problem with you in anytime we've done business ever in the past. It always is what it is. And I'm gonna tell you, as somebody who books for, 15 plus bands and works with all of a lot of the venues in DC and all over the country. I mean, I'm booking. I just got the phone with a promoter in Italy yesterday about one of my clients.
Wow.
Whole European tour. Yeah, I mean, I had Erica Badu's band is one of my clients. I had them booked at the Melbourne Jazz Festival and got in Australia. It got canceled because of COVID, of course. But yeah, I've had them play in Paris. I've had them in the UK. I've had them in Tokyo. You know what I'm saying? So, but you don't want to deal, especially when you're dealing internationally. You don't want to deal with people that you can't trust their word. And I'm not going to deal with people that trust their word. It only takes one time.
Yep.
For you to do some dumb shit, and I don't need to deal with you anymore because there are plenty of people in this world that have integrity and do good business, and that's who I want to work with. And I'm not trying to work with anybody else. So, I think that's a really important point that you brought up. But
half the time it's not even worth it, man. If you look at some of the things,
extra $100, who cares? Yeah.
Mm.
I would say even more than half the time. 95% of the time, I've gotten screwed over by people. it was like for no money at all, and then it was just like you just screwed yourself over because now I'm not ever going to work with you again. It's just not worth it. So, but along those lines, I want to talk about the cut line real quick because, again, just in case anybody that's not from DC that's not familiar with this concept, and maybe it exists other places too. I don't know, but I just know about it mainly from GoGo. Cut line is basically you don't want to stand in this long ass line to get in the door. They're going to have a separate line where you can pay usually twice, maybe sometimes three times as much money to get in faster. It's a shorter line, and typically what they'll do is they'll intentionally hold the regular line so
Yeah.
that, and stop people from coming in so that they'll drive people into this cut line so that they'll make 2-3 times the amount of money on the ticket price. Is that something that happens in Miami too, or is that just a DC thing?
It happens in Miami, but they get you on the bottle service.
Mm.
They want you to pay $4,000, $5,000 for bottle service, and
That's
they
how I
figure
do
that.
in Vegas too.
So yeah, same way, that same concept. So that's the whole Miami thing, and that's how I started on Miami Takeover. Actually, people would go down and didn't want to pay the crazy amounts to get in the same club, so I go get the whole club and get the same experience.
But you wouldn't do the bottle thing. You would just do just a
No,
regular.
no, no, no. We still be doing bottles, but I'm not gonna hold the lines and make you pay
I,
a
I
crazy
got
amount of price for the table.
Gotcha. So this is a really important point. I think you were able to carve out a niche and a business for yourself by bringing integrity to a game that is not known for having integrity. Do I
Yeah,
understand that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You said that
So,
right.
yeah, come down here to Miami. I'll take care of you. You have a good
Yeah,
time, and I'm not going to try to gouge your fucking eyes out
yeah.
with this. That's
I'm,
real. That's what's up.
I'm gonna give you the same spot that you would have to pay probably 2 or 3 times, but I'm gonna give you even better experience because I'm gonna give you our music at the same time. And that's been the whole concept. That's been the concept of wherever I go. Even I do stuff for All Star weekends, normally the big weekends. But
Hmm.
what I also have always done is I've always collaborated with promoters in other states that
Hmm.
kind of like got the same concept. And I would say,
Hmm.
to be actually honest with you, when I look at the promotion game,
Hmm.
I always looked at myself as doing a good job. But there's a couple of people out there that I look up to that have been doing an even better job. But I can truly say that I can probably do business with all because I've done what I was supposed to do in my lane. You see what I'm saying? So I can go to the West Coast, get some people to do the stuff in California. I can get some people to do some stuff in Texas. I can get some people that do some stuff in Atlanta. All the big party spots.
Hmm.
And I pretty much done with all the big ones. So I'm happy about that. You know what I mean? I will say that. You know what I mean?
So when you do a party in Texas, is it just a party, or is there like do you bring a DJ that plays go-go? Like are they if you do a party in Texas, is it geared towards drawing in DC people, or is it just you're just partnering with the guy? Like, are you the DC guy bringing the DC
I'm a,
people,
I'm a,
or is it just a party?
It all depends on the event and what I'm looking to accomplish. So, take for example, sometimes I don't need the band, right?
Right.
The event itself might drive enough people for me to be able to turn a profit, right? So, sometimes I need a band because I need that group of extra people that's going to actually do it. So, prime example, I used to do Dallas and Redskins in Dallas, right? But
Right.
I partnered with Tom, my son, who went to college with me. So
Sorry, you partnered with who? It broke up a little bit.
Tom Joyner's son, Oscar.
Okay, gotcha,
So
gotcha.
so he already had Texas. You see what I'm saying? So I was able to put stuff together where I didn't need a band because now I got heavy promo in Texas. I just need a good spot for my people to go to.
Right, right.
So and then like say for example, you might do and like every All Star weekend that I did. I don't need a band at All Star weekend. I don't need a band because there's so many people from all over. I need a DJ gonna drive me the people. So the Kid Capri, the Biz Markies, what I mean. You need that name that everybody can associate with, no matter where you come from. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's how I think. You know.
Gotcha. So, okay, so real quick, um, So, my producer Tracy just said the sound is going in and out for you. Can everybody else hear him? I can hear you fine. It still just got that little clip thing at the end that I was telling you about, but I can still hear you and understand everything you're saying. Can everybody else? We got old school Queenie on here. We got Barry. We got Michael Muse is on here. We got Saki Mark. We got Party Mode Live.
You got all my family on there, man. You
All
got the
your
whole
folks
family.
there. We got Andrew Gaston from GoGo Royalty. Yeah, we got everybody on here. So can you guys hear him okay? Of course, nobody wants to answer now. You guys want to talk a whole bunch when he's talking, but now when I'm asking you a question, you don't want to answer. Um, so okay, so we'll just keep going for a minute. So okay, Marky said he can hear you. So okay, so you say you don't need a band. So this is what I want to make clear to GoGo bands because I think what would I just think that's okay. Also, Queenie saying you're breaking up and clicking. Yeah, that's the same thing I hear. I don't know how we're gonna get rid of that. You know what I mean? So we just have to make it through. But it's mostly okay. We can hear everything you're saying, so it's fine. So um, so I think bands, go-go bands, think that they get paid to play music, right? Not every go-go band, but I would say 99% of them. So when I hear you say, I don't need a band for this, what does that mean? That means to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, that means you're saying, I'm putting a band on this show because they're going to bring people.
Exactly right. I
And
mean, because the cost of a band is so high, like especially when you start talking about out of town, you're talking rooms, flights, and performance fee. That
yep,
ain't cheap. That's triple or double what they getting here. So you gotta really have the people to come with that.
right. So which is and this is sort of a good segue into the thing that I want people to understand. I think that when people, so there's a difference between touring and playing out of town, and building other markets and playing out of town. What you do, which is amazing, and we're going to get into how you got started. You know what made you do that is you bring a bunch of people from DC to Miami, and the way you do that is by taking bands that they are familiar with. And when you say I don't need a band to do something in Texas or whatever, the reason you're taking a band is because your expectation is that enough people are going to pay to come see them that the revenue that you're going to generate from people that are paying to come see that band is going to exceed the expense of getting that band there because
Exact.
of the motor. And so that goes to the overarching question is what is the goal of a promoter? A goal of a promoter is to bring in more, as the goal of any business, to bring in more money than what you expend on expenditure or spend on expenditures, right? So to me, I have a problem with the. Now I understand why for what you're doing because you're bringing people from DC, but I have a problem with the go-go mentality that I'm supposed to get paid 3 times more than what I make in DC to go play in another city. Now it's different if you're bring how many. What's the average amount of people that come to the Miami Takeover from DC just throughout the
Mm,
year? Just a ballpark.
I mean, 1,500, 2,000. But that's with us. But then you got a whole lot of people that don't come with us. So you're
Right.
talking when you talk about people that come to town from Miami, you're talking 3 to 5,000 people actually coming to Miami around that time because we generate the buzz for Miami Takeover. You know what
But
I
and
mean?
that's people coming from DC. So three to
Yeah.
five thousand people coming
Yeah.
from DC
All right.
that ostensibly like go-go, right? So that's a totally different situation than I'm I'm taking backyard to Youngstown, Ohio, or Cincinnati, Ohio, to play for people that live in Cincinnati, Ohio. And bands, I want bands, anybody that's in a band, to understand this distinction. If there are 3 to 5,000 people coming to Miami around the time of your show, 1,500 of them are coming with you. There's a reasonable expectation that you are generating enough revenue for your event that these bands are playing at, that you're going to be able to absorb the cost of their 3 times, guarantee that they want,
Mm-hmm.
and you're still want to make money, which is what you're in it for. If somebody is bringing you, if a club in Cleveland, there's a fabulous lady named Colleen who I booked my Prince tribute with at a club called the Music Box in Cleveland, Ohio. If I told her that I wanted to bring a go-go band from DC and it was going to cost her $6,000 or whatever, she would, are you smoking crack? Like, nobody in Cleveland knows what the hell go-go is. Like, nobody's gonna come to that show. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no demand for a go-go band in Cleveland, Ohio. And people, I just don't. It's really not that difficult of a concept to understand. And I don't get why go-go bands. And I don't just mean young go-go bands that don't know better. I mean some of the legends in this game that do not understand the concept, that and this is why go-go bands don't really go anywhere, because they think that I make this much in DC. If you want me to get in a car and drive somewhere, or get in a flight and drive somewhere, you have to not only pay for that car or pay for that flight, but you have to pay more than that for my inconvenience.
Yep.
And that's because you think you're getting paid to play music. You're not
Yep.
getting paid to play music. You're getting paid to sell tickets. If you can't sell more tickets than how much it costs for your band to play, then nobody's going to hire you. It's a different concept than what Wylie is doing in Miami. So the next question I have for you is, out of the 3 to 5,000 people that come down there, well, in addition to the 3 to 5,000 people that come down there for when you do the Miami Takeover, have you noticed any, like, are you converting any people that live in Miami, or any people that may not live in Miami but are down there for the same weekend, and maybe from LA or Seattle or whatever? Like, or is it really still just mainly DC people, or do you even track that? I mean, you might not even have a way to track that. I don't know.
We actually are converting people on, and the reason being, this is what I always said about GoGo. It's about how it's presented, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you one scenario real quick. Remember, I told you when I was a fam, I had never heard Jam Pony, Luke, bass music, right?
Yep.
So I'm riding around campus with my truck blasting go go. It sounded not as good as the bass. Everybody's laughing. They're like, what is that shit? Right? So in my dorm room, I had a tape of Groover's pool party.
Yep. The
We didn't. Yeah,
VHS one.
yeah,
That
yes.
will
So
convert
so
somebody
so
real
so so
quick
listen.
every
So
time.
so so when I say I put the tape in, and the whole dorm was like, "Go Go is the bomb." I know DC, like they doing that, like they freaking like that. Oh man, I never seen that. So I converted a lot of people to like Go Go. You see what I'm saying? Because they saw a different visual, and a lot of time it's perception and reality. So the perception is, it sounds like rockets hitting buckets. It don't sound right, but when they see the reality of it, they get it. And one thing I learned about live music: any rapper, any artist sounds and gets the crowd more engaged with a live band. Period. When Jay-Z rocks with a live band, curtains. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because the live experience is untouchable. But we in this city never really understood the concepts that you're talking about. You know what I mean? And we over or outprice ourselves. We bigger than what we really are. You know what I mean? And it's sad, but it's where we are. You know what I mean? How we get past it? How do we, change the game? One of the things that I will take ownership for, even though Donnie Ford and Familiar Faces came to Miami a couple years before the takeover. He shot a video. He wasn't coming to bring people, right?
Right.
He had the concept of Miami Takeover.
Right.
I brought the whole concept of putting bands in big money clubs. The only
Mm-hmm.
way that I can convince the club owner for what I said before, you gotta have the people. Donnell Floyd could not come to Miami and get a Live nightclub or Mansion nightclub with the three people that came. He shot that video. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So with that being said, I have opened the floodgates to even show Miami that GoGo can make money. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
now,
Well, let me
Miami can say, "Yeah,
clarify that
I'll
real
give you a
quick.
club." You know what I mean?
You had already built your reputation and relationships with these clubs promoting non-go-go parties, so they knew that you had a well of people to draw from, so they felt
Mm-hmm.
confident in giving you
The club.
the right, the club, in order to do it. I think that's another thing that a lot of people miss. They just think I have a great idea. Uh, you should listen to me because I'm a genius. No, there has to be some proof of concept. You have
Mm-hmm.
to show that you can do it before people are going to take you seriously. So that's another super important point. So you built the foundation before you got there. So that's a perfect segue into my next question, which is, what the hell made you decide to start the Miami Takeover and bring Gogo bands to Miami anyway? I can't imagine it wasn't a enormous headache for the first couple of years, if it's not even still an enormous headache. So what made you do it?
There's a number of reasons. Like I said, I was throwing parties, right? But I'm a diehard go-go fan, right? I
Right.
always wanted my music. I'm one of those guys. Always wanted our music to be outside the box. I feel like we are just as big as hip hop. You understand what I'm saying? For a
Mm-hmm.
person growing up in Southeast, I never really listened to rap, so I went to college. I listened to go tapes. That was me. That was my hip hop, right?
Yep.
So with that being said, I knew I started it started off as my going away party from Miami and my coming home party to DC. But I was able to convince the clubs to let me get it. I can bring the people down. I'm gonna bring a band. I actually started off with crossover. That's Rocksteady, Slick Rick. God
I
bless you,
remember.
Slick Rick. This
Yep. All
past,
right.
that was my
Look right
homie. Yeah.
there.
Um,
RIP.
and I started off with them. And if you remember, the crossover band, I had Connecticut Avenue for years. I mean, that's how I started because I'm loyal, but I understand and I got that integrity, right? So I put all that stuff in the mix. I said, all right, I want y'all down to Miami. They agreed, and they came down. We started off in a hotel ballroom. I started off with maybe like 60 to 90 people, and every year I had bigger goals. Like I wanted them in mission. I wanted them in play. You know what I mean? I wanted them in all the high end clubs in Miami because that's how I saw my music. Like I wanted to be able, just like they have in these high powered days in Vegas. I feel like Google should be the same thing: lights, camera, action, people spinning from the ceiling. You know what I mean? All that stuff that you giving them the concept. You know what I mean? And it can be there, but like you said, you got to be turning a profit. And if the band is already stopping the profit by not allowing you to get outside the box, you can't grow the concept. So
Yep.
it's like with take for example the conventions in Miami. I rented those things out, for 3 or 4 years. It got so big that the clubs told the city, you can't let this guy keep doing this. Like you can't keep turning our convention into a club because it's gonna make other promoters not come and give us our fees. You see,
Right.
so the convention center actually, changed their policy because
Oh,
like
wow.
like when I went in, I would go in there and put the chandeliers, the VIP sections. I mean, we had a casino one year. You know what I mean? So I've always tried to think outside the box. I'm a visionary at the end of the day. Like
Indeed.
I get people around me to execute, and then I'm a visionary. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Big shout out to my team, Antoine, VPD, you know what I mean, Travis, Chuck, all the people that have been with me from day one. And like I said, I got a good team of people around me. Miami Takeover is definitely not me alone. I got a whole team, and we've been grinding 13 blessed years. I can truly say it's been a great ride. And like I said, we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And to be actually, I'm happy when I see us come down and ride on the road that I built. You know what I mean? but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times people won't give me the credit as credit's due. But I don't need it either. I'm not
Well,
asking for it.
nah, you need it, and I'm giving it to you right now because I ain't never heard about nobody doing no go-go shit in Miami before you. I do remember that video. Actually, now that you reminded me, but yeah, shooting a video is not the same thing as
Right,
doing an
right,
annual show. And I mean, no disrespect to them, like you know what I'm saying, but I don't see the two things as being related. Like
right.
that's two things. You know what I mean? So now, 100% credit goes to you. So you mentioned 13 years. So let's take it back 13 years to when we met, and I want to ask you a question about that. So Heritage India. I'm glad you mentioned the name of the club because I couldn't remember it to save my damn life. So I remember that you booked us to perform. We played with UCB. I don't remember who played first, but it was UCB and Mambo Sauce. And I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like this was before we were getting radio play. Do I remember that correctly, or
Yeah. You're
and
correct. You're
yeah.
correct.
So my question to you is: do you remember? How did you even know who Mama Sauce was at that time? What was it that made you interested enough to hire Mama Sauce? And which is going to lead into another question.
So I connected with Mumble Sauce through Dax, who was
Yep.
dealing with UCB.
Yep.
And Dax and my college high school buddy Spoon, who's my partner, Wylie, my friends, said, "Hey, we need to check out Mumble Sauce and UCB." I'm the type of guy, just like you, I'm going to see what they all about. And I like to think outside the box. I like to do stuff nobody done before. I'm not a father. I'm not doing it because he did it last year and it
Right.
worked. Now that's fugazi to me. So I tried y'all out. I heard y'all sound. I believe y'all had a female drummer at the time.
Yeah. Now
Yeah,
all the way
yeah,
through the band.
yeah. So all that concept was flying high. Like this hot. I like it. You know what I mean? And y'all came, y'all shut it down, man. And like I said, it was more so. It's how you are brought to something. Give you a prime example. Let me add to that. Take for example, DJ Casper. I heard Casper from a CD that somebody LC gave me, and my DJ ever since. You know what I mean? Like you know,
Uh-oh, you did go out now. Your audio went all the way out now.
no, somebody's calling me. I don't know why
Oh,
they did.
okay.
They,
Okay.
they probably actually watch and they call them. You know how that do.
It's all good.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I tried y'all out. I was man, when I seen y'all going to the moon, man, I said, "Damn," you know what I mean? It makes you feel good when you hear something early and you play it and you
Yeah.
like it, and then they go, you're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. Well, you're let me try to remember what it is now. There's a book called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, and he talks about the different points at which something goes from being obscure that nobody knows about it to having mass appeal. And there's mavens, there's connectors, there's first movers. I forget. There's a specific set of people that take something, whether it's the iPhone or anything that becomes ubiquitous in the culture. And he talks about there's a group of people that are like the first movers. I may have the terminology wrong, but it's something similar to that. That these are the guys that are like the tech nerds that are like, yeah, I gotta get the very first one or whatever. And that moves to the next group of people that are like slightly more into it, but not 100%. And then it goes to the next group of people, and the next, and then it goes to the mass culture. And he just it outlines how that happens with anything that becomes popular. And you're definitely on the first mover category there. So I appreciate you giving us
Thanks, man.
the reason why I wanted to ask that question is because I would assume that there's some people. I know that there's at least some people here that play in bands, and I think it would be instructive for them to hear from someone who is a successful promoter. What is it that attracts you to a band to make you want to book them? Like, what are the things what do you have to see? What do you have to hear? How does it have to be brought to your attention for you to, and I understand it's different, going to be different every time, but just a couple of things that are like, this is what it takes to get on a promoter's radar. And then once they are on your radar and you book them for something, what is your expectation of what they should do? Because I think there's a lot of confusion about that. I deal with a lot of bands, especially booking or whatever, that think that, now I'm the one getting phone calls. Um, a lot of people that just think, oh, you hire me to play music. All right, so you're the promoter. You promote, and I'll just show up and play some music when I get here. So, how do you? What makes you want to hire a band in the first place? And then once you have hired them, what are your expectations?
I look at a few things. I look at what crank they're gonna give me. I look at the appeal. I look at how they work a stage. I also look at how they promote. I look at how they do the business. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, like say for example, um, two bands that always mess with me in the takeover is Vibe and Black Passion.
Mm-hmm.
People ask, you know, why do you have, why you keep having Vibe and Black Passion? One of the reasons is from a business sense, they understand the business,
Mm-hmm.
and once you understand the business, it's pretty easy to continue the relationship. And like say for example, you need people to understand their roles, and I think that Black Passion understands the role of the need to help promote. Vibe does the same thing. You know what I mean? Like you say, I need y'all to help me get people to travel. We already know we can put on a show, but we want people to travel and come to see you, and that's what it's all about to me. So I ask, and I say, what gets on my radar is good business acumen. And like I say, like say for example, we might lose together, but if we can sit down and strategize and say this is what we're gonna do better next time, then that's good business to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm all for that. That's big. I'm big on that.
Well, so you said might lose together, and that's, to me, that's important because I don't uh, I don't think bands really understand that they should assume any of the risk. They don't think that they should have to lose anything. They think if you're hiring me to perform, you hire me to perform, and I show up and perform and give me my money.
And then
It is.
a lot of times the bands like that don't want to accept what you want to pay them. You see what I'm saying? So I'm only going to pay, like I said, I'm only going to pay what I feel the value is. So say for example, if I feel as though your band isn't going to bring me $1,200, even though you sound good, I can't pay you $1,200. See what I'm saying? So you know what I mean. What appeal do you have? Like you say, one thing you always say, man. I see all your posts. You give a lot of bands the knowledge and the nugget. I mean, like if I ask for a picture of the band and I can't use none of them for the flyer, that don't even make sense to me. But you want $12?
Right.
Come on, man.
Well, hey,
Like,
I'm gonna fix that though. You know how I'm gonna fix that? Because I'm about to start a petition, moveon.org, whatever. No more pictures on flyers at all. No more band pictures on flyers. Because if I see one more janky ass picture of a band, and not even just little band, that's the thing. It be the big band. I'm
yeah.
like, how old have you been around for this long? And you still don't have a picture of your band.
It's business acumen. Like, say for example, you gotta have business acumen. Like, say for example, I'm gonna give you a prime example. A
We're
lot of
going back to
times,
globe posters. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. But a lot of times I spend more money than I might want to on something. But if it's beneficial for me, not only now but in the future, I'm gonna spend it
Mm-hmm.
because perception and reality is what you need. So you gotta have a perception to get them in there to give them the reality. You see what I'm saying? So I gotta sell your flyer. It's gonna entice you to want to come. Now when you come, I gotta make it better than the flyer.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Undersell, over deliver. Yep. 100%. Okay. So the band has to have some business acumen. Presumably, they have to have a damn photograph of themselves. That would be a good start, and a good one. And They have to like be showing a little momentum. Okay, so a band checks off all those boxes. They got all of those things, and you hire them to come play Miami Takeover or whatever in DC, wherever, whatever you're doing. What is your expectation of them? I mean, you touched on it a little bit, talking about Vibe and Black Passion, but what is your expectation of a band? Like, I mean, because I know that I've dealt with some bands that are like, man, the promoter keeps stressing me out to keep posting a flyer on my page every day, and I don't want to, I don't want to mess up my feed, and I don't, So what is a reasonable expectation you think of a band? Like what? How many times should they be posting? How soon should they do it, and what should they be posting? Like what is it? What is it? What are the best practices for you from the band side that you've seen?
The best practice is to use their free network. Take for example, I expect a band to at least, and I'm talking all band members, to at least put my flyer at least on their page where it's seen. You don't have to post it every day, because that's
Right.
overflowing. That's looking like the part not gonna do good. They stressed out. You see what I'm saying?
That's
But if you
yep.
got it on the page, it's there for people to see. So I should be able to go to each one of the band members' page and see the flyer there, period. Like if I don't see the flyer there, that means they don't care about my party. They don't care about
Mhm.
playing for me. They don't care
Yep.
about coming back. Like
Hmm.
I shouldn't have to tell a band, to post it. Like so many bands ask the question, how can they get on a takeover, right? And then you go on their page and I say, where y'all playing? Where y'all playing? I come. It's not even on their page. That's not fair to me. Like I want to come
Well,
see you. You selling
listen,
yourself.
I want to tell you something. I started a website that you can see up there. It's called
Mm-hmm.
gogoTix.co. And the reason I started that website is because 90% of bands at GoGo don't have their own website. They don't, and if you want to find out where a show is happening in GoGo, you got to be a part of 47 different private Facebook groups or
Yep.
whatever, or you got to go to an actual go-go and come outside of the car and have 57 flyers in your windshield. So I wanted to create a place where a band or a promoter could post their show for free, and if I go to school in or I moved to Long Beach. I moved to LA. I live in Long Beach now. I moved to North Hollywood at first, and I live in Long Beach now. And I'm coming home this weekend. I want to know who's playing. I want a place where I can go and I can see who's playing. Remember when I said it was free? All you gotta do is fill out a fucking form that should take you 5 minutes that says, this is my name, this is the place where we're playing, this is how much it costs to get in. And you'll get it for free. Nobody did it. Then I was like, okay, maybe the form is too much, it's too challenging to fill out the form, whatever. So I made it so all you gotta do is fill out your name, fill out your email address, and upload the flyer to your show. Now, I'm not posting your flyer. And the reason I'm not posting your flyers is because 99% of GoGo flyers look like shit. And I'm not posting that bullshit on my site because I want it to look nice and I want it to not scare people away. You know what I'm saying? Literally, how much more simple could I make it for you than to enter your name, your email address, and upload a flyer? And still, very few of them do it. And I have to go scroll through Instagram and scroll through Facebook to find it and put them up, and we put them up for you. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
So yeah. So my point is, I bring that up with respect to what you were talking about. I want you to care about this show that I'm hiring you for, and I think that is a very important word. Care. Do you care about this or not? You know what I'm saying? So the
But
band.
this is what get me though. I know this is what gets a lot of promoters. Um, but they'll promote an event that they think is bigger than life that they're a part of, that they not getting nothing for, and they would have it posted a million times. I'm downtown and such and such, not getting no money, um, but they won't promote. They won't promote something that's paying them that we can potentially do more business with the show. I'm gonna want to hire you again. If we win, I'm gonna want to hire you again. It's just natural.
Well, you just said it. Vibe and Black Passion been on almost every Miami takeover because they promote, they understand the business, and I mean, I don't know if people realize this. I didn't even realize this until I started booking for them. Vibe sells tickets. Like they might not, like people might not think of them as like this big go-go band, but they consistently sell tickets. I think they
He
sold out City Winery every time I booked them there, except for once, and I booked them there probably 6 or 7 times.
he's consistent. He's saying
Yeah.
that word of
It would be like on a
consistency.
Monday or Tuesday night at like a
Yep,
$20 ticket, and they'll
yep,
still sell out 300
yep,
tickets.
yep, yep. I've been family with Vibe since I started bringing in a takeover. And, we do Tacoma Station every third Saturday. We've been doing that for like at least the last 4 years, before COVID. And we'll be back. But like that man. But the thing is, he gets it, man. Derek, we can sit down and we talk straight business. Like it makes sense. Like this is what we need to do. Or we don't
Yeah.
need to do that. That's not gonna make sense. You know what I mean?
Mhm. So why do you think that is? Why do you what happened? Why have we as a culture become so divorced from business acumen? I mean, why are we so far behind every other genre? Like why does it take us so long to figure it out?
The only thing I think of is we've never had the right people in the right place and position to teach the younger folks. So it's been a circle of not doing right. You know what I mean? Like this ain't right, and then you teach it, and then other younger guys they get it, they own it, and it just keeps. It keeps sprouting a bad tree. You know what I mean? The seeds that we
Mhm.
keep planting, and nobody has really been able to gather everybody together and get them to say, hey, let's take that seed out. Let's replant it. We know we got a good seed. We know the seed is good. Let's
Mhm.
replant it. Everybody wants to replant it because everybody wants it now. Everybody wants to be better than the guy across the street.
Yep.
And that like I said, I've dealt with the takeover. Like I tell everybody, like let me drive the ship and we all will eat. We all get to the other side of the ocean. But everybody feels as though they got a speedboat that's faster than mine. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They got a boat that's bigger than mine. And
Mhm.
you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I just still keep cruising. I blow horn when I'm passing. You know what I mean? And I even tell them again, come on, you can get on this boat. I come back and try to pick them up after they do what they do. But it is what it is.
Well, that's part of the reason that I started this show is because of course, I don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? And I would do these rants, and I would say stuff on Facebook or whatever, and you know, but is it better coming from me or is it better coming from the people in the community? You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to. I don't know. Everybody's really like digs far into these issues, So I'm not saying I'm doing a great job of it, but that's what I'm trying to do is try to get as far down into the real issue as possible, so we can try to fix it and replant. That's a great analogy that you just said is replant the seed. You know what I mean? Because I still, and I'm sure you feel the same. There's not. Listen. I booked the band every single night at the casino when I was there for 3.5 years. I was on the concert committee in my college. I booked Redman and Method Man. I mean, Redman and Run DMC and you know country bands and Toad the Wet Sprocket and all. I mean, every kind of music you can think of. I was into punk rock music when I was a kid. I was into heavy metal, all that shit. I've seen Slayer and Anthrax and Megadeth and all these type of bands. I've seen Jones. I've filled the rider requirements, getting organic tea and all that shit before it was cool for Joan Baez when I was in college. And I'm not saying this for accolades. What I'm saying is I've seen all of these types of music. And I've never seen anything more powerful than go-go on stage, ever, in my entire life, 43 years, never. And so, but we just can't get out of our own fucking way. Like, literally, go-go should be headlining Coachella. Go-go should be heading Lollapalooza, because you put us on stage with any of those bands, we will fuck them up. But we can't figure out how to make a record. It's only two ways to really get on that circuit. You either have a smash hit record, or you tour your ass off until you build up a fan base around the country. And we don't do either. We don't create a hit record because we're too busy practicing for the show, and we're too cheap to spend money on the studio. And we don't tour because just what we just talked about. We want three times as much money as we, even if you want $1 more than what you make in DC, you have to understand when you go outside to another market and you say, I'm going to, to, I don't know, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to play for people that live in Pittsburgh, you have to understand you are not worth what you are in DC. You are worth however much the amount of people that pay to come to
Yeah.
Pittsburgh are willing to pay to come see you. That's it. You know what I mean?
But what happens is they get comfortable. They
Yeah.
get comfortable here making the money, and you know, it's two sides of that.
Yeah.
That's why I like talking to you so much. One of the reasons why DC and Go Go is where it is because we're one of the only places where you can play as a band 3 or 4 nights a week, and it'd be packed 3 or 4 nights a week. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So
Yep.
most
It
bands
doesn't
that they
happen anywhere else.
it don't happen anywhere else. So they look at it as if I leave town, I'm losing money, as opposed to looking at the big picture and saying, let me not take this 1,500, 2,000, where I could potentially be 10,000 a show, 15,000 a show. You see what I'm
Yep.
saying? So, and nobody's been able to really sit people down and get them to understand that concept. I also like there have been people to try to get people to try to sign in and understand the concept, but no deal is made because the business acumen is not correct. And that's why I go back to that term, business acumen. You can be bright, you can be making money, you could be the band that's been the hottest for the last 10 years. But if your business acumen has not taken you to the national level, you did something wrong. And I'm very passionate on, and I still feel as though there's room for it. It's just like people like me, you, and some others that really have the business acumen to understand all of what needs to happen, utilize all those relationships, and really make it happen. Like prime example, being able for someone like a Rare Essence to say, "Hey, we're gonna shoot this. We're gonna shoot this with Snoop. We got this Snoop to do this. Let's go to Miami and shoot the video." You see what I'm saying? Those are things that now you are giving the people in other areas a different vision of what you're doing, and you gotta give them what they get right now. Half of this stuff out here that is hip hop, R&B, and rap, man, it's bubblegum, man. But they giving you the perception, they giving you the money and the glam, the glitz to make you wanna look at it, to make you say, "Hey, I want to do that." We don't have that in DC.
Mhm.
We don't have the look to make a nation say, "I want to be like a go. I want to be like a go-go band."
Right. Well, that's a through line through a lot of stuff you said today, which is presentation. You know what I mean? Whether it's from whether you're going to hire a band or not, or how a band is brought to you, or a lot of that is, and how you had to present it in Miami. It's presentation. It's not just about how you sound. It's not just about how hard you crank or how many people you can draw. Even sometimes, even though that's the most important thing when it comes to touring, it's about the presentation. And we don't have and that was the reason why I did GOGOTIX too, was to try to have a better presentation so that if somebody is like, oh shit, Snoop got us all with a go band, that's awesome. Let me look for some more.
But
They
you
come
know,
to a website that looks like Complex, not a website that looks like, you know,
but you know what? You started a conversation, I think this week or last week, where you said all bands need a videographer or something on their staff.
Yes.
And they had some people like, we don't need that. Why? This is my thing. If you don't have 50,000 followers on your social media, you need a videographer to film and get good content. That content needs to be updated daily. That's how you get followers. You know what I'm saying? Because you're
Yep.
getting new, fresh content. And so, like I said, like a lot of people just don't get it, man. Like when I saw that conversation, I'm like, they need it. Like you need to have that right now footage. Everything right now is right now. It's right
I
now.
mean, I'm a little challenged because obviously I'm in LA. You know what I'm saying? But I'm I'm looking for a good videographer to get me some stuff. So because I'm not at 50,000 yet either. But but that's I understand that, and that's what you need stuff to put out to do that. And then it's also not even just about growing your followers; it's about the presentation.
Yep.
Like that's the thing is like if somebody from outside wanted to look up GoGo, what they see is a bunch of shitty cell phone videos. You know what I'm saying? So I have rules about what I put up on my social media, my Instagram for GogoTix. I mean, I used to have a guy that helped me with it. Now I do it all myself again. So I'm not as consistent with it as possible because I got a lot of shit going on. But I have rules. I'm like, if a 14-year-old Asian kid in Seattle wouldn't look at this and be like, "That's cool. I want to know what that is." I don't post it unless it's a paid advertisement. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's a paid for it. Because like I said, like before, all the show listings are free, but then I sell premium postings too. You know what I'm saying? And so I post those obviously because it's part of an ad package. And what I'm about to start doing now too is just design not I used to design flyers, but I'm getting other people that are better than me to design the flyers so that way you just get the flyer design and you get it as part of the package. And then in that way, I can post the flyer because my people designed it, and I know it's passed my test of what I'm willing to post to keep my aesthetic the way I want it to post. But yeah, I mean, it's really about presentation, and I think you don't need three keyboard players. Cut one of them dudes and get a videographer and pay him $150 a night.
But this the thing. This the thing, Malachi. Whatever they charging, if I knew your band had a videographer and you get content and you're posting, I pay the extra $150, whatever it is. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I pay it all day
Yeah,
because
because
now,
it's extra content for you to grow your channels with.
listen, and I bet you take for example the same person that's saying the promoters call and saying, I gotta post it. Hire that guy, up your price, and I'll pay it. You see what I'm saying? We're gonna pay it because now we see the flyer. Use that videographer to tag all your team. You understand what I'm saying? It's so simple, man.
It's an investment in your brand, and the investment in your brand is going to bring more money for your brand, and it's going to bring more value and money for the promoter in the long run. So they're
Yeah.
willing to invest in that part of it too. You don't need to say, "Hey, this extra $150 for the videographer." You just up the price $150 or whatever it is, and you know what I'm saying. And you just heard it from one of the top promoters in the city and on the East Coast. He's willing to pay that because it's valuable to him.
I'm gonna tell you a funny story. Take for example, when I did the backyard and vibe for the first time,
Mhm.
I just started doing business with backyard this year, and the number in my head was always kind of like, oh man, that's high. I don't know, that's not really all my crowd. But one thing I will say, and a salute to the whole backyard family, man, they understand it, man. Like I got Virgil doing the video. Like when I was doing business with him, I say, "AG, I need a video." All right, hit Virgil. We're gonna get it. We're gonna send you the clip right back, and it's high quality. It's promoting the show. They involved. They engaged, and much respect to his family, Toya, who I used to deal with all the time. And I could call her, and I mean, hey Toya, shoot this idea. But they got a team, and they get it though, man. And that's what it's all about, and that's what
Well,
makes people want to do business with you.
let me explain something when it comes to that because I want to give Backyard a shout out too. I booked them um, for House of Blues New Orleans during
New
Essence.
Orleans, right?
So it's the same concept as when you're doing Miami Takeover slightly, although, in this case, Essence Fest is bringing all the DC people. It's not me bringing all the DC people. So I'm not a promoter. I'm an agent. I just deal with the Live Nation was the promoter on that. They were booked directly into House of Blues New Orleans. That's another sort of important point that I think some people don't realize. A lot of the shows that happen outside of DC are like DC promoters doing like renting a venue and doing stuff out of there. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But when I booked Backyard at House of Blues New Orleans, that was Live Nation, House of Blues New Orleans,
That's big.
Backyard with. That's not, what I'm saying, somebody from DC renting it out and throwing a party. That is the biggest promoter in the world hiring Backyard to play at House of Blues New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are multiple things that went into that. One is it's Essence Fest weekend, so there's reasonable expectation that there's going to be a shitload of DC people there already, right? That are probably going to come. And Backyard, and secondly, Backyard is the hottest band in the city right now. So if people from DC are there, they're going to see Backyard and say, "That's great. I'm going to see Backyard." Thirdly, I have a relationship with the talent buyer there who used to be a talent buyer in DC, so he is aware of Gogo. He's not really aware of Backyard, but I told him who Backyard was, and he believed me because we had a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So there are multiple things that happen there, and it goes back to your point about the presentation. It was presented to. I am fully aware that another top band, who shall remain nameless, reached out to him about bringing their band down, and it may have been during Essence Fest weekend. I'm not sure or not, but because I have a long-standing relationship with him, because it was presented by me and was presented in as from someone who is an agent who booked other bands down in other genres. You have a Prince tribute band out of Milwaukee that plays House of Blues New Orleans a couple times a year, right? So rather, other than somebody that this guy doesn't know saying, "Hey, I want to bring a go-go band," you know what I mean? So that's one thing. I harp on this a lot throughout this show is the relationship thing, because I know that one of the misconceptions in go-go is that relationships are bad, and that people look at it like, "Oh, well, you only got that because you knew this person or you knew that person or whatever." And yeah, that may be true, but I hate to tell you that's how life works. So your response should not be, "Oh, well, you only got that because you knew this person." Your response should be, "Let me figure out how I can create a relationship with that person so I can get the same thing." So there's a couple instructive things about that. The other thing is that I had tried to book another band that I was working with that was an older band, but has as somewhat of a big a name as Backyard, just not right now, but they have history behind them, whatever. That band, who is not really hot right now, but has a name, a big name, wanted more money to go there than Backyard did it for. You know what I'm saying? So because Backyard understood. Well, the other thing that I should say is Backyard had already been down there as well to play the Tipitinas for the Wire versus Treme party. You know what I mean? So I'm not making it like this is just easy and you just do whatever. There's a lot of things Backyard already had going for them, but to give them another shout out, like you said, they understood and they said, "Listen, this is an opportunity for us to go down there and not just be part of an event that HBO rented the place out, but really to go down there and say, this is Backyard being hired by Live Nation to go play this show, and to actually have that on their ticket history and say, I think they sold 400 tickets or something like that. That's really fucking impressive for a band from DC to go to, and the tickets were like $25, $30, something like that. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it's really impressive. You know what I'm saying? Even though it may not be Echo Stage like they do in DC, but 400 tickets in New Orleans for Backyard, that's really fucking good.
Really good.
Yeah, I may be misrepresenting those numbers a little bit, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, so that's and then back to the promotion thing with Backyard. This is the thing that I get frustrated with some of these smaller bands. If you follow G, if you follow Los, if you follow EB, if you follow Tiffany, if you follow Winston, all you're going to see when it's not COVID is Backyard promotion. If Big G is Big G, and he has to promote Backyard, then who the fuck are you? Why do you think you don't have to promote your band? I just don't understand why it's literally right in front of your face. Backyard is the biggest band in DC because they promote themselves, because they have a videographer, because they do all of these things. And it reminds me of somebody did a video of Ludacris or something, I think it was like a few years ago, and they were like, and he was talking about working out or something. And he was like, well, and he was like, and people will say to me, well, it's easy for you to work out. I mean, you know, or easy for you to do this. I mean, you're Ludacris. You don't have any. And he's like, how do you think I got to where I am? Because I did this shit first. You don't get the reward before you put in the work. You put the work in, and then you get the reward.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's I just think we got that totally twisted around. So anyway, I've talked too much. This is your interview. Uh,
Good
so
conversation. It's always
yeah,
good talking, man.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah. This is
look,
Gogotalx.
I'm gonna start calling you the Wizard of Go-Go, man. You a wizard, man. You got it all down, man.
But it's not even that. That's the thing I don't understand is I don't like when people say, "Oh, Mambo sauce." I didn't do anything like revolutionary with Mambo sauce. I just said, "Hey, why doesn't Gogo just do the same shit that every other genre does?" And I just did that. It's not really that complicated. It's not rocket science. It's just, hey, doing the stuff that Gogo does now doesn't work on the national level. So let me just create a band and do the shit that the national level people do. That's all it was. None of it is really rocket science. It's just you got to do it, you
Yep.
know. And people, like you said, are so comfortable, and they just don't do it. What made you? Maybe this is a redundant question because you've already said you just have a passion for go-go. But what? Let me rephrase it. I was going to say what made you bring go-go bands to Miami in the first place. But what made you think that you could actually make money bringing go-go bands to Miami?
I like to consider myself as very bright, and I know how to make numbers work.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I got a team of people that we don't go into things to take losses. So
Right.
we take the proper precautions and we spend the right money. One thing people realize is to make money you got to spend money. So don't
Yep.
get into it and try to cut corners. So
Yep.
you're gonna lose every time. So I put my money right in the right place. I just been blessed. Like I'm gonna give you a prime example. Like when we went to do the production at Mansion, where we had Vibe and Sugar Bear. Um, I spent a lot of money on just the aesthetics and the people spinning from the ceiling because I had a concept and vision that I wanted to capitalize on and was able to do that. But I wasn't going to shortchange them. I was going to put them in Mansion. Can't just put them in Mansion and not add all the things in Mansion. Like I told the guys, I need the video screens. I need all the boards running. I need the people spinning. I need the girl in that. You know what I mean? I need the same atmosphere that you had when you come pay the $30,000 DJ to come play techno. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I need all that, and it was a phenomenal experience. And every time I see Sugar Bear now, he's like, man, I got to get back down to Miami, man. That was a party, man. That was a party. You know what I mean? So people remember that, and that's what I want to give people too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you give them the memory
Mm-hmm.
and it's a good experience, they got to be a good experience though. They'll tell somebody, and they come
Yeah.
back and mess with you. Like, for example, people might not come back every year take over, but I guarantee you, 90% of people had a great time, and they either come back or they tell somebody else to come, and that means more to me than anything.
That's well. I need. I'm a terrible person. I haven't been yet, so I need to put my deposit.
We
I'm
got
gonna
yeah, we
call.
gotta get you. Gotta
I'm gonna
get you.
put my deposit down for next year or whenever it's gonna happen again. Hopefully, it's gonna happen soon. Have you noticed any? And maybe you're not in other places, but have you noticed any other interest or other places in Florida at all, or just Miami?
What was that again? And what about Florida?
Have you noticed any interest in go-go from any other places in Florida?
No, not necessarily. I think it's basically Miami, and the reason why it's Miami because Miami is such a tourist spot. Um, and when you look at Florida in general, um, this world is a family oriented spot. Not really. People don't go down there to party.
Right.
Tampa is more of a golfing boat fishing type of spot. No real clubs, not really a lot of club scene. And Jacksonville is not really a party city like that. So
It's not.
Miami Fort Lauderdale is the party of that state pretty much. So Tallahassee definitely not. It's a school state, and we didn't do nothing but go to school in Tallahassee. So you
Well,
look
this
at
is the
it.
reason why. This is the reason why I asked that, and specifically, I was looking at this to see what you would say about Jacksonville and Orlando, and this is the reason why. Because when I book tours for my clients, I don't book them with more than a 6 hour drive in between, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, there's plenty of bands in DC. There's at least four bands in that I'm aware of in North Carolina, Greensboro being one of them. Alter Egos, I think they're called. You got at least one band in Atlanta, sometimes two, and then you got one band now in Miami. The only problem is the drive from Atlanta to Miami is like almost 10 hours. So if there was one spot in between, there could be a little route there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
From Miami and bring them up and play three, you know what I'm saying, and pair them with the band in North Carolina and pair them with the band in Atlanta and bring a band from down from DC every now and again. And instead of just having, you know, sporadic stuff here and there, you could every couple of months have bands hitting all those cities.
Here's the question. That's the question. Those fans that those bands have in those cities, are they people that grew up there, or are they transplants? And are they people from the DC area? That's a major question. Will it determine if that is a workable solution and will it work? Because what happens is if they aren't, say for example, if they aren't homegrown in that city and they still transplant, those transplants still have the perception of, I'm gonna wait to this, I'm gonna wait to that, I'm gonna wait to go here back home, or I'm gonna wait to go. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's a tough question. But I like the concept. But then again, you still have to have a promotion, the right promotion team, the right people that have people that's gonna follow them. You gotta have the people that's gonna say, hey, this band is going to be able to produce this event and it has some level of integrity. All the stuff that we've been talking about plays into that concept. And if
Yep,
you,
100%.
you know what I mean? So if you spend all that time and it's a flop, you're only as good as your last party. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but I like
Well,
the idea.
what I'm thinking of, because I deal with, for example, I deal with a promoter out of Minneapolis. I initially dealt with him, so I have a rapper, I have multiple rapper clients, but I have one in particular who did a tour 2 years ago. Well, he did first he got hired to do a festival with Wu-Tang Clan, Twista, and um, and some other people in Chicago, right, by this promoter. And then he did well on that show, and he was blowing up a little bit. So that promoter was like, "Hey, I want to book, like 10, 12 dates from you, right?" So that promoter basically, instead of booking 10 to 12 dates all of his own, he booked 3 or 4 dates in the markets that he worked in, and then he brought other guys, promoters that he knew in other cities on, right? So then this other promoter, the guy that's from Minneapolis, bought a couple of dates on that show, right? So he did like 3 or 4 dates on that tour. And then the rapper was blowing up even more, and the shows that he did well. So he came back and said, "Listen, next year, this was 2019. I want to buy 50 dates from you. I want to buy the whole U.S. tour for this amount, whatever it is, $120,000, something like that, guaranteed, and then plus a back end or whatever, blah blah blah." And he sends a promoter rep to every city with the client, with the artist. He paid for the van, all that kind of stuff, right? So my thing is looking at it from a promoter standpoint, whereas the bands may change, but at least because there is bands in those cities, there may be some level of interest, and
Right.
in those cities. So again, like I said the other day when I was talking to somebody else about it, like I don't have all the legit. Oh, I was just doing a live, I guess. I don't have all the logistics started, but it just occurred to me when I was in Miami. talking to those guys, talking to Raw Deal about what their goals and aspirations were. And, it just occurred to me that, like, I'm always trying to crack the code and trying to figure out how to get go-go outside of DC. And my thought process before has always been, we got to get a hit record. We got to get a band that, it like presents themselves in a way, and then I just started thinking about it when I was down there. I was like, well, maybe it's just, we need to just start building this little route and just grow it out from there. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to talk to somebody with some experience in it and a lot more smarts than me in the promotion game, like
Well,
yourself.
I definitely want to be in the boardroom when that all comes together. I got a lot of ideas. Like I said, I think the best honest, I think that's what we need to do. We need to get a boardroom together of like-minded people that have business acumen to really speak on the different subject matters, to really map out what the plan is. And I really think we can come up with a workable plan that would not lose. You know what I mean? And I think that, with the right minds, the me, the you, the Unos of the world, what I mean, the vibe bands of the world, what I mean? The Dirks. I mean, you get all of those different perspectives in a room that have years in the game but understand the business acumen. Some people won't need to be in that room because they don't have the business acumen. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Yep.
what I mean? I think that's where we need to take this conversation. And like I said, you understand the Live Nation side. You understand what ticket sales mean. Like I said, I understand the venue, the promotions, other side of interstate, like you say, the different promoters in different states. I know who they are. I mean, I have a business relationship with them where, hey, how do we maximize your database? So now, if
Yep.
that promoter says, hey, I have a live band coming, you ain't got to say go go. I have a live band performing. At the time, his people are begging to hear live music,
Right.
and
Right.
we put our product in there. I mean, we come suited and booted. I mean, the band looks like, hey, like, like back in the day, and we got everything, a whole stage plan set together, lights, cameras, all that. They gonna want it. They gonna want it.
Yep. Well, all right. I'm with it. Let's get the board. Let's get the board together. I'm with it. We'll talk about it offline here. What else do you you got something coming up this weekend, right?
Yeah,
So,
man. I'm this whole COVID has really like had me in the room just thinking. And one thing that I found out, the Redskin, I mean not the Redskins, the Washington team,
Washington football team.
Washington football team, uh, they're not allowing anyone, even home games, to come to tailgate.
Hmm.
So, I got a lot of friends that's all they used to love to do. So we're gonna put together some tailgate parties. We got the Baltimore Redskins, Washington football team this weekend, a battle of the Beltway. We just doing an indoor outdoor tailgate. I mean, we're gonna keep it real tailgate. I mean, the stuff that I do. I mean, you're gonna be probably amazed when you see the video of what I'm doing to the parking lot. But what I mean, I always gotta think something crazy outside the box. But we doing that, and then a week after that. Uh, AMC and Casper, they launching their Crab and Vodka mixture. So I'm helping them with that, and we're gonna do unlimited crab feast tailgate. So gonna keep it going, doing different concepts. You know what I mean? Bring campaign in the picture.
So the concept behind this is you can't tailgate in the parking lot of the actual game. So you're gonna set up a different parking lot where people can tailgate, and you'll have the game up on the screens or something like that.
Yep,
I said.
we got the big screens. We got the blow ups. We got all the screens inside the spot. We got a little bar. So
Gotcha.
we got that going on. But my big thing that I just did, and I want to talk about this. Um, I got the virtual back to school glow party with
Yep.
TOB. I'm
Yep.
stepping outside the box, and I'm about to introduce TOB to my folks, right?
Okay.
So a lot of people, I had the wrong perception of the guys, and I'm taking ownership of this. And and when we saying taking this outside the box, we gotta get behind the young guys, man. And I'm big on that right now, but I'm leveraging getting behind the big guys to also give back because in this whole virtual world, talk to a lot of school administrators. We have a lot of kids that they gave them laptops, right? But they aren't learning effectively because they on their bed, they laying on the floor, they don't have a desk. And if anyone knows, like I know, you need ergonomics and you need to be comfortable to be able to learn effectively. So,
Yep.
I'm really looking to give back to the kids. I'm trying to get them some desks, some virtual learning equipment that that they need to excel. And the plan is to follow them all the way through the whole school year to make sure that they doing good. You know what I mean? I just don't want to give somebody something and then in 2 months they back to not doing what they supposed to do. So
Right.
I'm trying to give and also mentor at the same time. So the whole live concert that we're doing with TOB, I want to show a big shout out to TOB. I mean, like when I say these little guys, man, these guys got it. They were singing. I mean, they showed off for me because they wanted to show me that they just wasn't no bouncer, and they gave me a whole show. And like I said, man, I'm excited to show the folks. And we did it at Sky Zone. So I did it with the kids. It's the first time ever a band. We had let a band perform in Sky Zone. First time ever. I had my business partner agree to it, and now he's like, he's like, oh my God, we gotta do more of this. This is like, oh man, this is great. But ain't no other Sky Zone nowhere else, and it's a franchise, right? So we
Mhm.
got two. We got one here and Bowie and Waldorf, and first time ever. And I'm anxious to see how corporate looks at this once we give them what we giving them because they gonna be like, oh my God, and who knows, they might be having a band playing God knows all across the nation. You know what I mean? Who knows? You know what I mean?
There you go.
But it's all about presentation and watch the
I get-
presentation.
exactly. I'm gonna share the screen real quick because I want to let people know that
Okay.
1 second. They can shoot, hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay. There we go. Yeah, so they can can everybody see, can you see that?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
So you can go to gogotix.co, and we got the premier spot. The very first thing you're gonna see is the POB Beyond the Classroom live stream on Miami Takeover. You just click on I want to go go, and it'll give you all the information about it on Wiley's page. There's more, there's more photos and stuff. I mean, more shows and stuff on there as well. And then, we got some new news and stuff coming up. So yeah, so just go to gogo6.co and you'll get the information about the live stream with COV this weekend. That's dope. I really like those guys. They're really good with the video. They got the video thing figured out. I had little Chris on here a couple weeks ago. Very smart kid, and yeah, I think you're right. We need to foster the younger generation of go-go, or it's just going to bleed out because the youngest kids don't even give a shit about it anymore. So we got to figure out a way to present it in a way that they will appreciate it.
And like I said, man, a lot of times it's about us stepping outside the box, man.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first to tell you, my perception and my reality is two different things. Those guys, man. Like I said, they got a fan now, and then like I told them when they work with me, and like I said, they were just excited to be working with me that I was working with them. You know what I mean? And that's another thing
So,
about business that mutual excitement and respect. It goes a long way. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
just it's gonna be an awesome experience. I got a lot of stuff planned for 2021. 2020 was a tough year, but I will say it has strengthened the people that was already solid. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know what I
Yep.
mean. If you solid, 2021 gonna be ridiculous. You hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully hopefully we can everybody vote, please. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Vote, please.
Yes. Yes.
Please vote.
Yes.
Vote for the right person. I'm not gonna
Yes.
tell you who it is, but I think you probably can figure out who that is, in my opinion. So please, because we need to be able to do shows again, and
Yeah.
we need a competent person that can put a stop to this nutso stuff we're going through right now. But anyway, Wiley, I
What up?
appreciate you, man. I appreciate you taking this much time. I know you're a busy guy, and I really appreciate all the help, all the advice, and that you told me to go to the right beach, and you were right. And yeah, man. First, funny. First thing I saw when I walked out on the beach, a girl with a sitting by herself with a straight thong on, just out to the world. I was like, okay, all right, well, good thing my wife isn't with me right now. I'm like, why we sent me to the right place? But
well, well,
yeah,
well,
man.
well, I really do. I really always appreciate you, man. Like I said, the insight that you had, every conversation that we had has substance. It's not a lot of that out here. You know what I mean? I really appreciate you. I listen to you all the time. I need everybody to support you as well. Because at the end of the day, man, you got a vision. This whole GOGOTIX. When, as a matter of fact, when you first started doing it, man, you had a conversation, and I told you this, man, it's a great idea. And to see my friends do things, I'm excited. You know what I mean? Because now I got somebody else in the Rolodex I can call. I'm like, hey, Monica, man, da, 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 da. And I say, I got you. I say, I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. But yeah, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. We always do good business and have good conversations, and let's keep it up. And yeah, man. We will talk soon. Good luck with everything this weekend. It's gonna be dope. I'm gonna be tuned in to TOB,
That'll
and
work.
yeah, man. Let's get this shit popping. Thank you,
That'll
sir.
work. That'll work, man. I appreciate it. Be safe.
All right, man.
All right.
Thanks, Rob.
All
I
right.
appreciate it. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Please subscribe down below and click the little bell icon if you have not already. I'm gonna throw a bunch of information out right now, so you might not get it all, but a few things are happening. One, I started a blog on the website. Um, I don't even know why the hell I started it because now I got to keep up with it. But just was news and stuff happening. I felt like it needed to be put out there. So make sure you check that out. So the blog is on the first page, and then the shows have moved to another page, and then the listing for Gogotalx is on another page. So it's all sort of separated out a little bit now. I also, if you're on Facebook, I started a Facebook. What's up, Mike Arnold? I started a Facebook group called GOGO, the official music of Washington D.C. I started to, and this is sort of a selfish thing, but I hope it turns into something that's beneficial for everybody. I sort of got tired of having to go to 17 different Facebook groups to find out what the hell was going on. So I was like, maybe I should just start my own. And then, feel free to. I had another one that was like a private group, and it was for like business side stuff or whatever. And I didn't want people to post flyers and all that kind of stuff in it. This one is totally fine to post flyers, post whatever you want, as long as it's about GoGo. I don't like post fight videos and all that dumb shit. Just post stuff about GoGo, and like hopefully constructive stuff. But whatever, if it's negative, that's cool. Whatever, it is what it is. So if you wouldn't mind just going and joining that. So make sure you click the subscribe button and the bell icon below right here. You can go to gogotix.co for the blog. I put something up today about Donnell Floyd's new band Push Play, and then there's the Rare Essence video with Snoop Dogg. If you haven't seen that yet, there's something about the Netflix movie that has CCB, TCB, and Black Alley music in it, which is really, really dope. And there's going to be more coming for there as well. So, and then join the Facebook group, which is just called GoGo, the official music of Washington, D.C. Thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week. I have Rashad Young from UCB and Wylie, bass player, producer, engineer. Him and his father owned Central Electronics, which I'm sure most of you have probably been to at one point or another. I don't believe it's there anymore, but we'll get into that with him next week. The following week, we're going to be talking about the GoGo hosting game with the most controversial host in GoGo, Bam 640, my man. Then the week after that, on the 21st, we have got my man Uno, who actually, speaking of the blog, we put up an op-ed from Uno the other day about how we're so critical of songs in GoGo, and he goes through all these songs that he wrote or co-wrote or had something to do with, and how people shitted on him at first, and then how they ended up being like Grammy nominated songs and stuff like that. So make sure you check that out. So we got Uno on the 21st, and then I just confirmed last night on the 28th, we have my very, very good friend I'm very excited to talk to, Dig Dug himself of the Northeast Growers. So it's okay, Queenie, if you don't have Facebook. We're on Instagram too. There's not a group on Instagram, but the Instagram is GOGOTIX No, the Instagram is Get GOGOTIX. So yeah, so just go to at Get GOGOTIX on. Well, I think you already have. You're already on there, but yeah. So go to at Get GOGOTIX. The Facebook group is not. You're still going to get the most of the information from the website, but the Facebook group is just a place for you to post information about your stuff or whatever. But I don't fault you for not having a Facebook. It's a little bit frustrating sometimes. But anyway, again, thank you everybody for tuning in. As always, next week Rashad Young from UCB Wylie. So make sure you tune in and please subscribe. Yeah, like this on Facebook, like us on Facebook, like us, follow us on Instagram, the Facebook group, all that good stuff. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you guys soon. All right, have a